All right, let's take you back to our top story, where U.S. President Donald Trump says he feels Russia remains interested in making a deal with the U.S. to end the conflict in Ukraine. Let's get some analysis and cross to Washington, D.C. and speak to Gerard Toal. He's a professor of government and international affairs at Virginia Tech University. Thank you so much, Professor, for being with us on the program. So we're hearing several statements. Zelensky has said that the issue of territories, particularly the Kursk region, was discussed in Saudi Arabia. He's saying that it will require difficult dialogue. Rubio is also saying that, there's a difficult and complex period waiting ahead to make any sort of agreement on a ceasefire between the two parties. What is it going to take to make this 30-day ceasefire come to life?
Well, it's going to require delicate diplomacy and also dogged diplomacy. The Kursk region is very, very difficult because the Russian state wants to capture that territory before there's a ceasefire. The Russian state is slow walking a ceasefire because it is winning to the extent that anyone is winning in this particular conflict. The Trump administration is they're still novices really at the issue of diplomacy. And so it's going to take considerable skill. They're going to have to learn on the job very, very quickly to see if this is possible, if even peace is possible. There's tremendous ill will and distrust on the part of both sides.
Indeed. I mean, if they do agree to that 30-day ceasefire, it would be a huge milestone for the war in Ukraine. If Trump does manage to get both sides to agree to the ceasefire, what would that mean for the future of the war in Ukraine and the position that Trump would hold in this conflict?
Well, Trump obviously wants this really for, you could argue, narcissistic reasons. It's been suggested that he's after the Nobel Peace Prize. Put that to the side. If he can, and if the U.S. administration can bring these parties to the table to start serious negotiations to end the killing, that is an achievement to be celebrated. But there's a long, long road to go. I do research on public opinion in Ukraine, and the majority of opinion in Ukraine is they're still not reconciled to giving up territories. 50% of the population does not want to give up territories, even if it means continuing the war. So actually, President Zelensky is taking a chance and is potentially jeopardizing his own political future if he negotiates a deal which is seen as problematic.
Right. I mean, and given the history between the two countries, as you said, there's a lot of distrust between the two sides.
Yes.
That's why the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky, is asking for security guarantees, not just for Ukraine, but for the EU as well. What are some of the security guarantees do you think that he needs to secure?
Well, he ideally would like Ukraine to be a member of NATO. He would like European NATO powers as peacekeepers in the region so that if the peace breaks down and those soldiers are shot at, then the France and Britain, the soldiers that would be there, would begin to back up Ukraine in a renewed conflict. So that's what he wants. He would also like the United States, of course, to be a party to security guarantees, but it looks like that is not on the table at all as far as the Trump administration is concerned.
Okay, Professor Gerard Toal, thank you so much for being with me here on TRT World and sharing that insight with us.
Happy to do it.